learn quickly what you don't know in life, right? And realize, what you don't know is what's going to help you transform. And that's the key, right? Because if you want to transform, you can't look at what you already know, right? Because you're limited then based on what you know and what knowledge is already out there, right? And that is a mindset that people don't even think about, right? Because what's a mindset with nothing in it?
Hello and welcome to episode 323. Hello and welcome to episode 324. Hello and welcome to episode 325. My friend Ken Van Liew is back on the show today, and you may remember Ken as the developer of New York skyscrapers with a value of over $1.3 billion. Ken has extensive experience in every aspect of real estate investing. He's an author, educator, engineer, and one of Manhattan's most successful real estate experts. While he was last on the show, Ken shared lessons from his new book, The Modern Wealth Building Formula. And today, we're going to learn the 11 millionaire secrets they don't teach you in school. Ken, welcome back to the show.
Hey, Brian. It is outstanding to be here. And I, always appreciate, the opportunity.
Yeah, well, you have a standing invitation to come back. I mean, I really enjoyed our last conversation about skyscrapers, how to build them. It inspired me to go out and do a 120 unit apartment development. So hopefully, I'm sure you'll inspire a lot more of our listeners today.
Yeah, I was so excited to hear that today. That is absolutely spectacular. Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you very much. So let's talk about you. I mean, I want to get into the 11 millionaire secrets, but before we do, I mean, why don't you update us on what you've been doing in the past year?
Yeah, first and foremost, been hanging out with the family a lot. My daughter got married in September, and my other daughter got engaged. She's going to get married this October, and my son got engaged for New Year. So
wow.
My three kids are moving on, and there's an empty nest. So I didn't have anything to do, and I got busy. But
well, congratulations on all those engagements.
Yeah, it was real exciting. It was just an unbelievable end of year, and just real exciting to pay it forward. When we enjoy those blessings of life, it just excites us and gets us up every day, keeps us up late at night to pay it forward. And real exciting about some of the new things we're doing. We have now close to 75 acres under development, which includes, I guess I call it horizontal skyscrapers now. We're doing CVS pharmacy, 100-year-old restaurant restorations, affordable housing, market rate housing. We have commercial office, CVS pharmacy. We just took on a huge project down in North Carolina where we're literally creating a little city. We're up to like 60 pages in what we call is the plan unit development guidelines, writing the zoning for this development, which is now up to 130 townhomes, over 100 residential units with a destination where, you get there on the weekend and you don't have to leave. It's got a wellness center. It's got retail. It has self-storage. It has flex office. It has medical office. It has a hotel. Just a spectacular, in the words of the town where Ken, this is going to be transformational. So, it's really good to hear those kind of things and to go into different areas of the country and be welcomed with open arms. Because there are some, types of the country, places of the country around metropolitan area where they beat you up a little bit, so, we got to have fun,
Well, it's really interesting. I mean, I think you just shared a billionaire secret with us there, because you're not just, usually our conversations are about, I bought an apartment complex or a self-storage facility. But with you, it's more like, no, we're going to build an entire city, with everything you can imagine people will need in that city. I mean, so that bigger thinking that you have, that is a real differentiator.
Yeah, it's so exciting, and I don't know where it came from because I wasn't the sharpest tool in the shed. I played sports and I knew the football playbook, and I guess you could say, this reminds me of a playbook. I was the center. I used to raise my arm and say, huddle up. And, I had to know like what everybody did, as the center, you were kind of the leader. Like, what did the guard do? What did the tackle do? Which hole is the running back going through, and I always liked a lot of moving parts, and in football, which, I think contributed a lot to my success in high school. I only came off the field for one play, which was kickoff return. So, I snapped for field goals. I snapped for punts. I was the kamikaze guy on the kickoff, and we did this wahoo right on the punt or left, where I would like lead the guy going up the sideline. So, I took that mentality of winning. We won 2 championships in high school, and, just kind of brought it into my life. And when New York, went, chaotic, due to the pandemic, I was kind of wondering what I was going to do, because it was eerie. I'm not sure exactly when we spoke, but I remember being in New York City one day, and I was on Madison Avenue, and we were doing this $30 million penthouse on Park Avenue in 66th Street. And we had the whole top of the house enclosed, and the governor literally shut down the city. So the building department didn't know what to do. And they all of a sudden, like, we're waiting for the governor's office to tell the DOB, like what's happening. And like all of a sudden, this essential services permit came out, where, because we had, a $1 billion project potentially exposed to the elements, I was able to get these permits and keep our job open. But we had plastic quarantines. I had Marines like at the job, allowing people to come in the basement, taking temperatures. And the problem was no one wanted to go to work. Story I was going to tell you, I was there one day, and it brought tears to my eyes, because I looked down Madison Avenue. There was not one car or one bus. And I literally like kind of freaked out and like ran to the parking garage and got in my car, because they were, dropping off ice boxes for bodies at the hospitals, and the ship was coming in to try to create a hospital because beds. And I didn't mean to go off on a tangent, but these are the things that force us to pivot, right? And I think it's important because, my pivot, went back to the 11 millionaire secrets. We were talking about micro distinctions. We were talking about, ecosystem merging, right? The basic principles of what I call, some of the 11 millionaire secrets now. So.
Well, let's talk about those. So you gave us a little preview there, but let's take us through the 11 millionaire secrets, because I can't wait to hear them.
Yeah, one day I sat down, and I joke about it, because, I want people to know, it took me 6 years to get out of college. I met my wife taking Calc 2 for the 3rd time. I failed my PE test 4 times, right? And that was rocket science in my world. This is just real estate, and, I look back and, what were some of the attributes that made a difference, and I don't want to, say things that everybody knows, but, the number one thing, is your head screwed on straight, like that, that's the one thing that the 1 millionaire secret, the one thing that every real estate investor has to understand. Because if you can't manage your emotions and manage your mindset, it's not, when you hear mindset, oh, I got to walk around with a positive mindset. No, it's not that. In this world today, there's like 1,000 distractions, getting nailed at you. It's very easy to get into a shallow world, like shallow worlds. Doing Facebook and social media is not going to make you successful. What's going to make you successful is deep work. I woke up at 5 a.m. every day for, 30 years and worked till midnight. That's deep work. And that's the mindset. It ain't walk around and, in the clouds with positive thinking, right? I mean, of course that's included. I don't want to joke, everything's good. But, if you want, I'll run down them real quick.
Yeah.
Or you could fire away in between, however you want to do it.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think the first 2 things you just said, having the right mindset, and it's not just like posting nice quotes and stuff on Facebook. It's really having the mindset of you got to do the work and get it done right. And then just having your head screwed on straight. I mean, if you don't have that, those two
Yeah.
things right there, you're off to a pretty bad start.
Yeah. And my son's a US, intelligence Marine officer. Like, what is your mission? Like, like, do you have a mission in life? Like, what's your 3 critical missions every day? Like, that's the mindset you want to have if you really want to get something done,
Yeah. Well, take us through. So yeah, I would like to go through like one, 2, 3, 4, 5, all the way to 11.
Yeah.
What are the secrets?
Yeah. And then we can chat about them, and the second one that I've learned is without integrity, nothing works. Right. So, and integrity isn't about morality. It's about keeping your word. It's about empowering, every circumstance. It's about understanding that, like, somebody's always wrong, but if you can not make the situation wrong, you're going to advance to levels that you will never get to in any other way. And without integrity, like, nothing works, like withholding, lack of transparency, any of that in the space is going to eventually affect what you're doing in real estate development or investing, period. Secret 3, you got to have some type of plan, right? People don't plan to fail. They fail to plan. I am like I wouldn't say a journal maniac, but there are some key components of my daily journaling. What I'm grateful for, what my goal is today, what my 3 targets are, and what will make it a great day. I measure, I look at what I had planned that day, as it's as planned versus as built. You're into that world right now. Hopefully you won't have any construction claims. If you need an expert, I am one in construction claims, but I wrote my thesis on how to prevent construction claims and key elements of a successful project. And what I do is I measure, how was my day planned and how was it built? How did I do in my personal goals on a scale from 1 to 10? I quality quantify. How do I do on my business goals? And I do a quick measurement. Implementing.
Let me stop you. Let me ask you. So a lot of that, it sounds like just you're writing in your journal, you're keeping track of it there. Are you using any other apps or hacks to keep track of those things, the plans, the timeline, the dates?
Yeah, I mean, and it's not like I do a lot of journaling, but the journal that I do use that came from my years of Tony Robbins coaching, top coaches, is the bestselfco.co journal. And, it's 13 weeks at a time. There's no dates, but you lay out your quarter on what you're going to achieve. You do a weekly, a daily. Best journal out there, in my opinion. As far as other hacks, I use, I created, I read a paper years ago called The Secret Weapon. I use Evernote with a tagging system where I literally have 4,000 notes at my fingertips. So it's my information retrieval system. I've come to really like, Google Suite. My workflow is done with like Fantastical. So I have multiple schedules. I think I use Spark for email. So, it's all about workflow, systems, things at your fingertips, information retrieval, and, virtual assistants, is what it, comes down to, eliminate, delegate, automate.
So I
Eliminate,
love it.
delegate, automate.
Wait, let's repeat that one more time so I can write it down.
Eliminate, delegate, automate.
Delegate. I love that. And I love that you're old school enough to keep a handwritten journal, but at the same time, you're new school that you've got all those different apps and hacks and virtual assistants.
Yeah, I'll tell you, because there's nothing like, deep thinking where you go, okay, this is what I'm going to achieve over the next 13 weeks. And you write this thing out, your 13-week plan, and you got to sign it. It's like you're signing a contract with yourself. And that's what mindset's about, right? Get serious. Life, life's good, man. You gotta just make it happen, and that kind of leads into, implementing the organizational systems, always improving your systems, because 93% of businesses fail due to lack of systems.
93%, huh?
Yes. Yes. And of course, the numbers, most businesses fail within the first 5 years, but it literally comes down to lack of systems or people not understanding what they don't know. Right. If you, like I of course, get frustrated, but I realized, okay, this is a breakdown. We need another effective piece of a system, right? There's always, as Tony and Jack Canfield always say, there's always continuous and never ending improvement that you can tap upon. And then we have the Sean Callaghys of the world that have identified it as the micro distinctions, that the micro distinction that makes maximum impact.
Yeah, absolutely. Was that number 4, have systems?
Implement organizational systems. Yes. Number 5 is merging ecosystems, right? I mean, I call it networking here, but it's really merging ecosystems. Networking, BMI meetings doesn't work, right? That's called, horizontal innovation. These are, I use some of Sean Callagy's language since we brought it into, we're both unblinded fans. Horizontally, I went horizontal for years, right? But it's very surface, right? Vertical innovation, where you're building relationships, is ecosystem merging. We'll talk at the end, but my ecosystem that I'm creating is the global real estate enterprise. There will be 1,000 people in that enterprise. It will have incredible relationship equity. It will be a outstanding ecosystem that I think is going to create like something absolutely amazing. Secret 6, which kind of takes you a little, what I would say is, and this is a little different, but I called it wrapping your package. And this is what I call is, it's my 5-5-5 system. And I'm not saying it necessarily applies because the world has changed, but I've noticed that to take 5 more minutes with just maybe putting a little twist, whether it's a funky pair of socks or a sport jacket with a hanky in it, or something a little different that you could, give an impression when you're talking with something, many things. Like I used to joke because I had too much gold on, what's that, your Mr. T starter set? But people remembered me, so you want to look at how you're wrapping your package. Today, people dress differently. I don't put suits on anymore, but if it's casual attire, I try to wear something that stands out. It makes people feel that they want to be with you, so I call it wrapping your package, right? The next secret is dream team. Dream team is, learn quickly what you don't know in life, right? And realize, what you don't know is what's going to help you transform. And that's the key, right? Because if you want to transform, you can't look at what you already know, right? Because you're limited then based on what you know and what knowledge is already out there, right? And that is a mindset that people don't even think about, right? Because what's a mindset with nothing in it, right? Because if you have a mindset with a clean slate, then you could create a Rembrandt for yourself, right? There's nothing interfering with what you want to accomplish, right? You're on the mission, right? And it just makes it so clear. So dream team, we want to surround yourself, right? That was coined from, I think it was the 1992, gold medal Olympic dream team, right? Because at that time I was doing my first development and I created a dream team that was able to get the approval in the first planning board meeting, which is unheard of in the realm of real estate development. And that's what I learned, you go in full force with the dream team and you will succeed with the gold medal.
Yeah, and that doesn't. My first thought there was thinking of finding rock star partners, but that's not necessarily what you're talking about. You're talking about surrounding yourself with experts and professionals who know how to get things done.
Yeah, and the key is, you'll have your like dream team that you consult with on a regular basis. Maybe that's your hometown dream team, but like when I go into like Lewisburg, North Carolina, I'm vetting people, but I'm creating like an extraordinary dream team that will handle North Carolina, Virginia, and then I do it in other areas. And, even when I go south in New Jersey, it's a different dream team down in South Jersey versus North Jersey. And some towns have their favorite sons. So, surrounding yourself with people that are better than you, I guess, is the takeaway of the dream team.
Absolutely. Love it.
Secret 8, I don't sometimes wonder why I put this crawl, walk, run, which could happen in a very quick succession. But, like anything else, and I used to love the Nike commercial because, you know, they show these athletes falling down like 9 different times and, you know, just getting back up and getting back up, you know. So, you know, keep in mind that, you know, even though we want to always sprint out of the box, and I'm all for that, there are instances where you want to crawl, walk, run. And that could be to build a dream team, to get the support necessarily to give you the credibility for the next step, to understand, you know, what you're stepping into, to understand the strategies, what could make sense. So, you know, it's just preparation meeting opportunity, which is an old cliche, you know, but luck is preparation meeting opportunity, right? So if you want to be lucky, you know, I feel lucky today. You know, if you feel lucky today, you know, you just want to, you know, step in, well thought, well poised, and make your move, right?
Yeah, and you know, there's a lot of impatience today because everything is on demand, everything is instantaneous. So people, I see this quite often, people rushing head first into situations, deals, opportunities, and not really having the foundation and the infrastructure in place to be able to make that a successful endeavor.
Yeah. Definitely. But yeah, the next one, you know, is secret is fee gold. You know, I never hear, well, I shouldn't say never. Most of the time, when you hear people getting started in real estate and, you know, well into real estate and, you know, making transactions, they don't even consider fees. And, you know, they're paying them, but they don't realize that a lot of these fees could be kept in house. They could be other subsidiary companies that you start. You know, you see a lot of teams that, you know, have a, you know, property management company and have some legal services. And the point that I'm saying is, you know, if you're going to be out there, of course, you want to pay yourself acquisition fees if you can. A lot of the times it doesn't happen in the residential, but, you know, development fees, for example, you know, consulting fees, owner representative fees, you know, project management fees, program management fees. There's a lot of fees, and fees is how I got started, you know, because, you know, I didn't have the equity, but I knew the game, right? And I kept saying, wow, I just built $100 million project. If I could just build a $10 million project for myself, I could pay myself a 5% development fee, 3% construction management fee, and 8% general conditions. I'm like, 8, 3, 5, that's 16% on 10 million. That's 1.6. I can go into business for that. And that's what kept me up late at night to start my own business, because I didn't know real estate at that time. And as you may have heard me say, you know, I called my, I guess, training top-down thinking, right? Because here I'm building skyscrapers. My head was in the clouds. I didn't really realize, you know, the opportunities in real estate. I was a construction guy. I was a guy that couldn't pass the civil engineering test. And then when I finally passed it, I was making more money in construction. I couldn't go, you know, be an engineer and, you know, like, you know, ACD, ADD, OCD. I can't sit still. So,
Not you,
whatever,
no.
you know, all that kind of stuff. But fee gold is secret number 9, you know, and it's just great. And secret number 10, you know, is really the law of it, the law of detachment. You know, and why do I have that as a secret? Because, you know, real estate deals, when you get emotionally attached, it's like losing your first girlfriend. I mean, I'm not kidding, man. It's like heartbreaking. And, you know, I hear it all the time. You know, they get emotionally attached and they're not looking at the numbers, you know, or they're not, or they're making their assumptions and not looking at a worst case scenario, or not playing devil's advocate, and, or, you know, I don't know that paralysis analysis would come in even, but, you know, they're just sitting there analyzing it, yes, to death, to try to fit a square in a round hole, right? And that's gonna clip you. You can't get attached to the project. And then secret 11, you know, I now have all my clients focus and create what's called as the money hook pitch, because, you know, the secret is you need to learn how to raise money if you're in real estate, you know, and people are afraid to ask for the money. And my students like fall into money sometimes, like accidentally. And I'm just like, I told you, like, if you just tell people what you're doing, the money will attract. And then you need your money hook pitch, and the money hook pitch of the year was a young lady, Kayleen, in one of my programs. And this, right? Because you're with Sean, is you have to create a scotoma, right? And scotoma is where you shock the situation so that you open up the listening of someone, right? So, so here I'm like, okay, everybody, put your money pitch together. So she comes in, I'm like, so Kayleen, what do you do? She goes, well, I used to sell drugs and now I'm in real estate. And right away, she goes, I used to sell drugs legally per, such and such and Roche. She goes, but now I do real estate, and meanwhile, it opened up the listening of her people when she did that, but, it was really, really cool. And that's really it, and I started to emphasize these now as what I call is my 11 millionaire secrets. Because if it wasn't for these 11 silly things that, I now want to have fun with, I wouldn't be here today. Because, back then, my thinking, and this is the differentiation and micro distinction that I want everybody to know, my thinking was that you needed all this technical expertise. So what was Ken doing based on his thinking? Going to school at night, working too hard and not working smart enough, right? Yes, he got 2 master's degrees and a PE license and a site safety license and all of that kind of stuff. But it wasn't about that. It was about people. It was about ecosystem merging. It was about implementing organizational systems. It was about wrapping my package and putting people around me and crawling once in a while instead of running into a wall, and looking at fees, looking outside the box and not getting attached to things and emotionally, mentally, thinking about it all the time, and learn how to raise money. Don't be afraid. And that all led to the number one thing with, about mindset, which is what I think actually behind without integrity, nothing works, and, we all have a plan in life, right? But a lot of people start later on in life, start shoulding all over themselves. I should have did this. I should have did that. And, and they're sorry, and I just remember Tony Robbins going, when I'm sitting in a rocking chair at 80 years old, I'm not going to shit on myself.
Do you have any of that? You have any shoulds that you want to share with us?
It's funny you ask, because I'm looking at a very scribbled poster of my date with destiny with Tony Robbins in 2001. And the only thing I haven't achieved, my 4 values: passion, love, commitment, fulfillment, the top 1-year goals. I wanted to create a REIT, and I never did. And this year we're moving forward with taking steps to go in that direction, because I really want to, allow the vision of what I believe a reach of millions and millions of people that the modern wealth building formula will reach, and the global real estate investment enterprise now that you're now the proud, member of. And, and that's going to allow people to really grow into their greatness, right? Because, I don't know if I've ever shared, my new mantra with you, but, I am integrity, an honest and loving leader with magical empowering skills to create endless opportunities for all mankind, and to leave you with power, freedom, self-expression, and peace of mind. And with that goal, there isn't too much that I'm not going to be able to achieve, right? That's purely paying it forward. So, every person I meet, I want to create an ecosystem where they could value. As I mentioned to you, the global real estate investment enterprise is like the mafia. Once you get in, you can't get out. You're not getting away from me. I'm going to be doing this for a few more years, and then someone's going to take it over. So, you really get the opportunity to come into your greatness and to be part of a tremendous ecosystem that has relationship equity like no other. We have world-renowned architects, that designed a 90-story building in Manhattan. We have other investors that are doing in excess of 50 million. We have people that are out of the box closing their first deal after like 45 days, transitioning from financial management into real estate, beginners coming out of the box, just buying properties, experienced construction people closing on development deals. And it's just extraordinary. People working together, everybody calling each other. We have like the enterprise black book, which has everybody's bio and phone numbers and emails. And I call it ecosystem on steroids, baby. Here we go.
Is that something that our listeners can find out more about?
Absolutely. If they actually, we just created a landing page for people to go to the recorded 11 secrets. You hear me talk about them. They can go to 11millionairesecrets.com, and that they'll actually get invited for a strategy session. And I believe, I haven't actually written anything up formally about the global real estate investment strategy, but we're in the process. But I will tell you shortly that it's really my life's work, and it gives the client everything I've ever created. It is my modern wealth building formula, new digital program with over 70 lessons, with templates to enable you to syndicate and buy real estate with no money down, every type of real estate. I revamped and reshot my financial freedom protocol course, which is my entire residential manual of when I was CEO and partner at Flippin' USA, where we did 137 deals in 1 year. It includes my real estate development made simple, which is my original 8-figure deals with no money down that I built a $17 million project with zero money. It gives you the 11 secrets, the golden nuggets. It has lifetime consulting 3 times a week for 2 hours with me, Ken Dan Liew, just like this, live in your face. First question I ask you every day is, where are you stuck? Where are you stuck? You need money, you're not finding deals, and where aren't you facilitating on what you should be facilitating, right? And it's about building your business to succeed. I've done it. There's people that are doing it. The beauty of it is when people ask questions, I get to go, hey, Chris, we talked about that a few weeks ago. Why don't you share that with Brian? Or, hey, thank you, Kayleen. We just talked about that, right? And people get to step into their greatness, and that's what it's all about. And it's my lifetime work. And it's beautiful because I made it so everybody can afford it. And it is by invitation only. So, most likely you will talk to me, if you're interested. But what I'm all about, and I'm not BSing you right now, because I do not do this to upsell you and upsell you and upsell you. I'm going to sell you one thing, but it's a lifetime program where you're not getting away unless you succeed, or you could choose to get away. But the runway is laid out for you. You can get in the jet. It may be a residential jet, it may be a commercial jet, and you will learn how to take off, right? And that's the beauty of it. And it's really, really exciting. We now have students just raving, and we're going to put testimonials together in a beautiful VSL. But like I said, it's not my priority to sell. Your listeners, get the 11millionSecrets.com. That will continue to give you value. If you do want, just go to kendanliew.com. You could immediately just schedule an appointment with me. I'm very easy to reach. And, I just want people to know, like, I'm just like you. I put my pants on one leg at a time. I'm a hobbyist. I like magic. I'm a magician. I just bring magic into people's lives, and that's what I do.
Well, that's amazing. That's amazing. Thank you for sharing all that with us. I want to get your final thoughts here as we wrap it up, just on the state of real estate, the market. What are you optimistic? Obviously, there's a certain level of optimism because you're building out an entire city in North Carolina. But what's your thoughts on commercial real estate in 2022?
Yeah. We're definitely up against all kinds of challenges, and I don't think that anybody's actually seen what's going to occur yet, because the residential upset is going to just continue to upset the larger institutions. But there are literally commercial REITs that are out of business. It's the commercial office market. is probably going to, I would say, be a continue regression, as leases expire and things like that, and companies possibly decide to move in another direction. And I think a lot of the commercial comeback is going to be related to how companies are going to come out and what their decisions are going to be with their employees on COVID. I do, however, believe on the other side of the spectrum, there's going to be tremendous opportunities, like always, right? There's always two sides of the spectrum: massive fallout, massive opportunity. Obviously, if you want to lump a bunch of things into, because when you say commercial, we obviously know that, the brick and mortar stores are continuing to struggle now because of the COVID pandemic, which is really just, put that thing into a tizzy. However, most continue to thrive and have the brick and mortars just, as these visual anchors, and, they believe it's still a necessity. Who knows what's going to happen down the road. But, retail is a necessity, right? So, I'm finding that, a lot of the primary retail, like, when you do your void reports, a lot of the larger retail players aren't necessarily getting into new markets as much, but I do see a lot of it. But I do see a lot of new franchises coming up, especially in North Carolina. So, there's going to be a lot to be told. I think, the office market could shift different areas in the country. I think New York, we're not quite sure what's happening over there yet. I haven't had enough hours in the day to study it, but, that's just, I guess you could say, my feedback on what I'm saying. But like I said, just not that I ever want to be the bearer of bad news. Anytime there's negative, there's always positive. Soho's coming back, New York's coming back, and it's all coming back. So, I do think there's going to be a massive adjustment. It is a little scary, with the residential frenzy.
When you talk about you talked about residential distress and residential frenzy, are you talking about forbearances on mortgages, or just the lack of housing that's out there, or what exactly?
I think it's a combination of a bunch of things, right? So the pandemic has caused a greater need for housing. We then have the situation where, because of the forbearance, I think it's going to implode, where, it's going to be a short sale frenzy, because, foreclosures will, leap in, to the multi-millions again, like we had in 2016. And, I'm not sure how that affects, and I haven't put enough thought into it, how that really affects the market need, right? That's really just, I guess, could be a turnover. But, we'll see. I think that's an area that, you're going to see, the experts, the Marcus Millichaps and all that kind of stuff, in their upcoming reports, to really start to, I think, to reflect on what's happening now that we're coming out of the protection period that people had, during the pandemic.
Yeah, great analysis. Thank you. Ken, I want to thank you for coming back to the show. You have a standing invitation to come back anytime you want. The 11 millionaire secrets that you just shared with our audience, a lot of those are new to me. So I'll probably integrate them myself and make $1 million.
Absolutely, man, definitely. And I can't wait to see you at the next enterprise meeting. Welcome aboard, and just congratulations on your success. And, feel free to lean on me if you ever have a contractor trying to hustle you, or, a consulting issue. I'm an expert with every professional in the book, every single trade. I've written every single scope of work, bought every single trade, and designed it all too. So it's all good.
Fantastic. Well, it's been a pleasure talking with you again. Thanks so much for coming back.
Absolutely, Brian. Thank you.
All right. Awesome job. Let me hit the stop record button here.